Welcome back. You're watching Business Class. Australia's fortunes seem tied to those of China. They're our biggest trading partner, but how much do most of us really know about the country and its culture? Well, if you've ever wanted to find out more, but you're not sure entirely where to begin, a visit to the capital, Beijing, is the obvious starting point. It's a city that's steeped in imperial history and tradition, but one that can seem overwhelming to the first-time visitor. Adam Ford, editor of the Big Bus Tour and Travel Guide, was there recently, and he joins us now with some executive travel ideas. Adam, great to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us on Business Class today. Now, let's start with first impressions, I guess, and the best way to approach a visit to China, because my first concern really would be, well, perhaps a language barrier.
Yeah, g'day Natalie. You know what, I've got to say, what a massive surprise Beijing turned out to be. I mean, I had a lot of preconceptions about this city. None of them were right. Given the fact that there's 22 million people in the greater Beijing area, that's almost the population of Australia, the city is very relaxed, very charming, very clean and tidy, lots of culture and history to enjoy in the old city centre. Amazing. As you said there, the language barrier is the big issue. And look, here on Business Class, we talk a lot about airlines and hotels and so on, but we don't often touch on tour companies. And I think in this instance, a tour is actually a really good way to go. I travel with Colette Tours. They're a great option for executive travellers. They include things like chauffeur-driven transfers to the airport in Australia, very centrally located deluxe hotels, lots of bespoke experiences, but also well-trained English-speaking guides, which is really the key to this whole scenario. It's not a situation where you can just turn up and expect that everybody will speak a little bit of English and you'll get by. They don't, and you won't. So definitely consider a tour as probably the way to go, particularly for a leisure trip.
Well, I guess also as part of that, I mean, where is the best place to base yourself? What are some of the options, again, in terms of, I guess, that comfort with language and also with getting yourself around?
Yeah, well, the city sort of radiates out from the Forbidden City, which is the heart of the old city centre, and all of the must-sees are located sort of north and south of that point along what they call the central axis, I should say. Just to the east, you'll find an area called Wangfujing. Now, that's where most of the city's deluxe business hotels are located, also a lot of the top-end luxury hotels as well. I stayed at the Park Plaza. That's a deluxe option, absolutely sensational location, great amenities. Some of the luxury options you might want to have a look at include the Waldorf Astoria, absolutely stunning, the Peninsula Beijing, also the Hilton Beijings, and the list goes on. So all of those key hotels are located in that Wangfujing precinct. If you are travelling for business, just a little bit further east of there is what they call the commercial district or the central business district of Beijing. So Wangfujing is really right in the heart of it all, between the business district and the old city centre where all the must-sees and do's are located.
Well, just on that, I mean, what are some of the must-sees that we're putting on our list? You mentioned the Forbidden City, which sounds terribly exciting. What are some of the attractions that we're going to take in on our trip to Beijing?
Yeah, look, the Forbidden City, extraordinary public space with the Gate of Heavenly Peace down one end and that portrait of Chairman Mao, which is an image that we all associate with Beijing. Absolutely spine-tingling, I have to say. And leave enough time to explore the hutongs. They're the old neighbourhoods of Beijing. They're characterised by these very narrow, winding laneways that were formed by the construction of traditional courtyard residences as far back as the 1300s. Now, very sadly, in the second half of the 20th century, about 2/3 of the hutongs were demolished to make way for high-rise housing. That process seems to have stopped, I'm pleased to say, and it seems that renovation of the remaining hutongs is the name of the game. So definitely keeping that fabulous link with the past.
Of course. Now, just lastly, now climbing the Great Wall of China is at the top of the majority of people's bucket list, let alone those visitors to China. And you can actually access, I believe, several parts of the wall when you do visit Beijing. What are some of your top tips for those who are looking to do the climb?
Yeah, so there are various different sections of the wall that you can access pretty easily from Beijing. They're all around sort of 90 minutes drive depending on the traffic. Some of them, interestingly, some of them have been renovated and some of them haven't. So depending on what style of climb you want to do, you can certainly do the unrenovated sections or the renovated sections. They're a little bit easier because the steps are a little bit more even and that sort of thing. It's all about preparation. Make sure you go with good walking shoes, a great hat, lots of water, sunscreen. And just keep in mind that the higher up you get, the less people are about. So you can actually get those spectacular images. If you're interested in photography, certainly the higher you go, the less people will get in your way, and you can take some great photos. So it's really all about preparation, but what an amazing experience. I absolutely loved it. That's the Great Wall. Stunning.
Really is. We had some vision up for viewers just a few moments ago. Really does look beautiful. Adam Ford, really appreciate you taking us to Beijing this evening. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.